This session is about order point or reorder level calculation. The program that generates a suggested vendor order calculates each quantity to order either by comparing a preset order point to the current quantity available for sale or by looking at sales history and, in essence, creating an order point on the fly to be compared to available quantity on hand. Having the order points in place allows the order generation program to run more efficiently. In addition, pre-established order points provide a simple way to determine overstocks and allow for inventory balancing between locations. Sales history is the key to determining order points. So before we look at the screen that runs the order point calculation program, let's first look at inventory sales history. I am going to go to Inventory Management, Display Alter Part Numbers, and I'm going to enter the number that I want to look at. And I'm going to go to page A, which is the movement history page. This is a typical example of an inventory movement history page. This particular format includes monthly, quarterly, and yearly sales unit fields, in addition to rolling history fields for 6 months, 12 months, and 24 months. Any of the sales unit fields on this screen can be used in the order point calculation. As you will see, the important thing is to know exactly how much time each sales period selected to be used in the calculation represents. With these fields in mind, let's look at the reorder level calculation setup screen. I'm going to escape and go into menu selection 5, Inventory Standard Reports, and then E, Reorder Level Calculation. Your clerk code is required upon entry to this program. Clerks with security that is below manager level will be able to run saved libraries, but will not be able to modify them or to create new ones. Next, you will be prompted for a store ID. This will be the location for which you are generating the new order points. Either press return through the default or enter the ID of the store that you want. If library jobs have been set up, you will come to the library jobs screen and you will see a listing of all of those saved jobs. And you will select the one that you want to run. For today's purposes, I'm going to use the default so we can do our own setup and see what the different fields can do. The first screen that displays is the selection option screen. That is because once you have created and saved library jobs, the selection option screen is most likely the only screen that will need to be altered as you run this program on an ongoing basis. Once the parameters have been configured, the only thing that you will probably be changing is the line code of the parts or some particular code of parts that you want to look at. For right now, I'm going to click on the Home button so that we can go over all of the screens one by one, top to bottom. So right now I'm going to click on Report Options. The primary function of this program is to use the provided sales data and stocking parameters to generate new order points. There are a number of different procedural options for implementing this. This program can be run to update live order points with no report output. This program can be run to update live order points with a report output. That report can include every part number in the range or just those parts where the order point has changed. Or this program can be run to calculate the new order points and either update a work field or generate a report showing both the old order point and what the new order point would be. If this program is run with no output, the date and the title of the report, which would both show up on any output, are irrelevant. However, if output is being generated you can enter a report title, and unless it is being changed from the default setting of 0, the date will always print or display as the current system date. With or without output, the important setting on this screen is whether or not this program should be run in the background or the foreground. The recommendation is to set this to a Y, to yes, and then to use the default batch number that displays. I'm now going to click Home and click on the print options. As I just mentioned, this report can be run with no output. To do this, set the output option to a none. Once you have done that, all of the remaining fields on the screen will be grayed out. Or some form of report can be generated. It can be to the screen, to a printer, in PDF format, as a text file, or with the SBC email server installed on the system as an attachment to an email. The output can include every part number in the range or just those parts for which the reorder level has changed. Once you select some form of output, the other settings become available. If the print non-changed part number question is set to N, only those parts where the order point has changed will appear on the output. This feature only works if you are updating the live order point field, because the program compares the newly calculated order point against the value in the field that you have selected. The output line must be set up with the fields that you want to see in the output. The rule throughout SBC is, if data in a field is being altered by a program, and if that same program is creating output that includes the field being changed, the data in the output will always be the old data, the contents of the field before it was changed. There is a special designator, MN #, that can be used in the output line to display the newly calculated order point data. I'm now going to click Home. And I'm going to click on the selection options. As I said earlier, this is the screen where you select the lines or the parts within lines for which you want to generate new order points. If you are calculating for a single line, simply enter the beginning bookend of that line in the start number field. The software will automatically put the ending bookend in the stop number field. The program will run most efficiently and quickly if it is set up this way. If you want to run this for 5 or fewer lines all at the same time, you can use the Compare option area at the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to remove what I've entered in Start and Stop. And I'm going to place the cursor under the first field in the Compare options. And so what you're going to want to do is compare the manufacturer code field being equal to a particular value, or that same manufacturer code field being equal to a different value, or that same manufacturer code being equal to yet another value. You can do this up to 5 different values. Keep in mind, if you do it this way, the program must read through the entire inventory file, looking for the specified lines. It is a much less efficient way to run this program, and it will definitely take longer to run. You can also use the field mask under the filter options to select parts within a specific line. For example, looking for parts where the category code is equal to A1A. Now I'm going to click Home to return to the main screen, and I'm going to click on Calculation Options. This screen has elements that look like fields on B2, the suggested order creation screen. This program uses basically the same arithmetic formula for generating new order points that the order create program applies when the formula method is being used. Regardless of which sales periods you have selected, the calculation always looks at the numbers in terms of weeks. In the fields at the top of the screen, you will list the field designators of the sales periods that you want the program to look at. If you don't remember what the designators are, on-screen help is available. Then you have to tell the program how many weeks those sales periods represent. The last important piece of information that you need to tell the program is how many weeks on hand you want to keep on the shelf. The formula looks at sales history translated into sales units for the specified number of weeks and at the desired minimum weeks of supply on hand. The logic factors in vendor package quantities and looks at the reorder flag and a possible minimum order point setting for an entire line or per item. As you are working with different lines to establish accurate order points, this is the screen where you will do the tweaking to enable the software to provide you with the most valid results. The goal is to set up the parameters that work best for each vendor and then to save those parameters. So when changing sales patterns require recalculating the order points, it can be done easily and quickly by retrieving and running a saved library job. Starting at the top of the screen, you can set up anywhere from 1 to 12 sales periods. So for our example, let's say that we wanted to look at the most current 3 full months. So we're not going to look at the current month because we could be anywhere in that month, but we're going to start by looking at last month. If you don't know the designators for those fields, we can use our on-screen help. I'm going to click on the yellow help button. What I see when I click on that are all the available numeric fields that I could use anywhere on this screen. But I really want to only look at monthly fields. So I'm going to click the F5 search button and I'm going to type in the word month. What I see now is a subset of those available numeric fields. I only see those fields that have the word month anywhere in the description. I'm going to click F2, and on this screen now I see where I have my monthly sales history fields for store 1. 011 is the current month, 021 is last month, 031 the month before that, 04 the month before that. So I'm going to click on 021. That's going to stuff that field into my first field, and now I can manually enter 031 and 041. The waiting fields under those sales periods are for situations where you might be looking at seasonal items, where you might want to weight the sales in one sales period more than in another sales period based on seasonality. For the most part, you're going to weight all of your sales periods equal, and the program will do that for you. It will automatically distribute the weights equally. Here's the critical field. How many weeks do those sales periods represent? If we assume 4 1/3 weeks per month, those 3 months represent 13 weeks of sales history. And now you can enter how many weeks you want to keep on hand. And so for this test purpose, I'm going to put the number 3. If we do not want items that have been flagged as do not reorder items to be calculated, we're going to leave that field set to no. We tell the program where our package flag is and where our package quantity is, and it will take those values into consideration when calculating the new order point. If we want to set up a minimum reorder level, we can do the same value to be applied across all of the parts that we're working on, or we can look at a specific field on each part record that might have a different value per part. The extension fields and the percent change fields are important if you're generating a hard copy and you want to see that information on the report. For right now, we're going to leave those unset up. I'm going to click Home to return to the main screen. And now I'm going to click on Update Options. This is where we establish the fields that we want to be updated. So I can set the reorder level field to be updated to my live order point field. I can set it to a work field, or I can leave it blank and just create a what if output. For the purposes of our test, I'm going to set up the reorder level field. If a date field is available, I can set that up, and it will be populated with the current system date. Keep in mind that it will update every record being touched, whether the order point has changed or not. I'm going to go back, and in selection options, I'm going to just put a single line in start and stop so that we can run a test report and see what it would look like. And so I'm going to change it from running in the foreground to running in the background because I'm going to do it to the screen. And I'm going to hit Enter to begin. And here you can see the report that I've generated. It shows me my part number, my description, my sales history for the 3 months that I looked at, the system minimum, and the calculated order point. And I'm only seeing those items where these numbers have changed. When you run this process, as I've said before, you can do it 3 different ways. I can update a work field with this calculated order point, run a separate report listing all of the parts where this work field is different from the live order point, make any necessary changes to that work field, and I can copy the contents of that work field into the live order point field. I can update my live order point field directly with the newly calculated order point. Or I can skip the actual update and just generate output like this, showing the old order point and what the new order point would be. You can tweak parameters until you're satisfied with the results, and then you can run the program one more time without any output and update the live order point field. You can create a different library job for each line code or for each vendor so that it can be easily run as needed. There are other videos in this collection that explain how to save library jobs and give you even a more detailed explanation of how to use all of the different selection criteria. Please contact SBC Customer Support if you have any questions or comments about this video. Thanks, and have a great day.